Last week, we showed the resurgence of Anna Maria Island in Sarasota. This week, we travel across the Sunshine Skyway to St. Petersburg. The barrier islands of Fort Desoto, Egmont Key, Shell Key, Pass-a-Grille Beach, and the tiki bars and resorts along Gulf Boulevard help rank St. Pete Beach as TripAdvisor's #1 beach in the U.S. just 4 years ago. But then the hurricanes of 2024 struck.
Hurricane Helene is now entering into the Gulf of Mexico, and the entire west side of Florida is going to be under the gun.
But it wasn't a wind event, it was a storm surge event, and it was after the eye wall passed north of us.
Then, 2 weeks later, Hurricane Milton was tracking right up the mouth of Tampa Bay.
Everybody is absolutely just scared to death from this, as we should be.
While St. Pete Beach was spared the catastrophic loss, as Milton shifted to the south, it still sustained a major blow.
We're taking a live look now at Tropicana Field. The roof ripped right off.
It left piles of debris all across St. Pete Beach, Treasure Island, and Madeira Bch.
It's going to be a while before things are back to normal on the Pinellas County beaches.
Now, it's 1 year later. In the couple of months after Helene, you had thought it was going to be years till things are back. Well, the good news is many places are not only back, but thriving, better than ever. Like the old Florida favorite, Pass-a-Grille Beach. We'll take you to Fort Desoto's Outback Key, North Beach, and the Bayside Pier area. And show the shuttles you can take to both Egmont Key and Shell Key. But then there's major resorts of St. Pete Beach that we thought would be open by now. Some of them don't look any different than 8 months ago. We'll tell you what we know as far as when they will open back up. We'll show some of the more popular beach bar eateries that are back. Some properties waiting on new developers still set as they were. Give the latest on Tropicana Field, where the Rays will be returning to, given major new developments on the Rays' future. We'll also update you on our previous Treasure Island Madeira Beach video, an area that was hit very hard, and show the recovery there. We are Tampa Aerial Media. We film across the USA in the summer and fall, but film Florida in the winter and spring. Next, we head down to the Florida Keys for a big series in October, then filming St. Augustine in November, and the Bahamas in January. Subscribe to see all that. If you have a travel-related business in the Florida Keys, St. Augustine, Daytona, or Jacksonville and want to be featured, contact me at info@tampaaerialmedia.com. And always appreciate your comments, likes, and super chats, which helps to cover the expenses of filming these videos. So Bailey's ready to explore. How about you? It's the Sun Coast, 1 year after Helene and Milton. We take I-275 from Bradenton on the Skyway Bridge. On the left there, you see the South Fishing Pier. We're going to show you the North Fishing Pier. This Skyway Bridge opened in 1987, replacing another bridge that was hit by a freighter 7 years before, causing 35 deaths. Many people have attempted suicide by jumping 190 feet off this bridge, so they put up some fencing. If you take a cruise out of Tampa, you'll pass under this bridge. At nighttime, the bridge lights up. We showed a couple of boat tours in our St. Petersburg video, which you can take to see this bridge at night, one out of St. Petersburg and the other at a golf park. So the old bridge now has become the world's longest fishing pier, as you can drive right out on the pier and park right at your fishing spot and set up a grill like this guy here. Now that's the way to do it. It is $4 per vehicle, plus $4 per adult, $2 for children 6 to 12, and that includes a 24-hour fishing license. Anglers will find tarpon, snook, grouper, and mackerel. This pier is lit at night, which not only makes it convenient to see, but also helps to attract many species of fish after sundown. As well as the fishing piers, there are also 2 newer rest areas constructed in 2020, both accessible from the north and southbound lanes. And just north of the north rest area is Skyway Beach, where you can rent wave runners or you can take some kiteboarding lessons. Tropicana Field, after losing its roof to Milton, caused the Rays to play across the bay in a minor league field in Tampa in 2025. But the dome is being repaired, and the Rays will be playing here in 2026, for 2 to 3 years that is. But the Rays have been sold to new owners who have expressed interest in moving the team to Tampa, possibly around the Channelside, Ybor City area. From the Skyway Bridge, you can take the Pinellas Bayway to St Pete Bch, and then the Pinellas Bayway South will take you to Fort Desoto as you pass over the Tierra Verde Bridge. After crossing another bridge is the huge Fort Desoto boat ramp. Here, the ramps are open, but the floating docks were destroyed. They are building new ones and should be completed by early 2026. And this is also where you can take a shuttle to Shell Key with Hubbard's Marina. It is $35 for adults, $20 for children 3 to 11. This shuttle runs 3 times daily. Shell Key sits across from Bunce's Pass from Fort Desoto's North Beach. Beyond Shell Key, way in the distance there, is Pass-a-Grille Beach, which we'll go to in a bit. Now, you can also camp at Shell Key for $50. And you can also do a jet ski tour here with Blind Pass Jet Ski, which we showed in our Madeira Beach Treasure Island video. As the name implies, this is a great place for finding shells. Here's a look at Fort Desoto, which is made up of 6 keys, the larger being Mullet Key. There's North Beach, the Gulfside Pier, the Bayside Pier, and East Beach, which is the closest to the Skyway Bridge. And now there is also Outback Key here. This started forming as a sandbar in 2009. Used to be separate from Fort Desoto, but have been starting to connect with North Beach, and Hurricanes Helene and Milton increased that. You see the shot from 2020. And now how it looks in 2025. North Beach and Outback Key form a peninsula, kind of like Tiger Tail Beach in Naples. From parts of North Beach, you may have to walk through a little bit of water to get to it. North Beach and Outback Key are the most popular beaches of Fort Desoto. The park area lost about half of its picnic tables, about 250 from the hurricanes, but all the damaged barbecue grills have been replaced. The seawall near the historic fort are closed due to the storm damage. Both the Gulfside Fishing Pier and the Bayside Fishing Piers were damaged, but they have since been repaired and are open. Parking is a very reasonable $5 at Fort Desoto. At the Bayside Pier is where the shuttle to Egmont Key departs from. It is $45 for adults, $25 for children 3 to 11, also operated by Hubbard's Marina. There's 2 to 3 trips a day. Next to the Bay Pier is a fenced-in dog park, as well as a dog beach. This is one of the 2 beaches where dogs are allowed. This, along with Brohard Paw Park on Venice Beach, are the 2 best dog beaches on the west coast of Florida. We take you back over the Tierra Verde Bridge as we head to Pass-a-Grille Beach. Now crossing the Pinellas Bayway Bridge, you can see the Tierra Verde Bridge way in the distance there. The Pinellas Bayway ends at the historic Don Cesar Resort. This hotel had never been severely damaged from a hurricane in its 97-year history, that is, until Milton hit. The pool and the ground-level bars, courtyard, have mostly been repaired, with the exception of the row bar terrace patio and the grand ballroom being renovated, will open early 2026. The very south end of St Pete Bch is Pass-a-Grille, a look at the north side of Shell Key, and now you see Fort Desoto there in the distance. One of the things that's nice about this beach is there's parking spaces all along the mile of public beach here. You park and it's an easy boardwalk crossover to the beach. This beach was renourished last year, which tripled the size of the beach. Looks so much better now. Another great benefit to this beach is you have the Paradise Grill, open 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. 7 days a week with a pretty good menu. Lots of picnic tables and ironic chairs to enjoy your cold drink or meal with a view of the beach. There's a vintage ship bell here, which at sunset they designate someone to ring. And the bell ringer will sign a guest book located in the museum across the street. Here you also have this nice long linear park all the way from the bay side of the island to the Gulf side. And across the street is the Hurricane Seafood Restaurant in a Victorian-style building. There's a rooftop bar and dining area with the best view of Pass-a-Grille, and also a ground floor patio known for some great calamari. They also have a good website for online ordering. Pass-a-Grille is certainly one of the best places to experience Old Florida with vacation rentals and bed and breakfasts you can book on Vrbo. Now the Dewey's restaurant here also has a rooftop bar, but it is still closed. Moving down Gulf Way is Paradise Suites. This is how the place looked 8 months ago. Well, they are back open to enjoy some ice cream on a hot Florida day.
I would say Pass-a-Grille Beach is pretty much back to normal. Want some pistachio ice cream?
Above Paradise Suites is the Brass Monkey, a sports bar with multiple TVs and an elevated deck overlooking the beach. On the south end of the island, you have a jetty with a paved sidewalk you can walk out on. This big building is a residential condo, and next to it is the Islands Inn Resort, which is still temporarily closed. On the bay side of the island here is another dog-friendly beach, although this is not nearly as large as the one on Fort Desoto. The bay side of the island has a long, gorgeous walkway overlooking the bay. This is also a good place to park if parking on the Gulf side is full. This island is only about 3 blocks wide, so it's not too far of a walk to the beach. There are some short piers on the bay side that were substantially damaged. This here is the Mary Pier. Good news is, this pier and the boat docks have been repaired and is open. There is also a ferry to Shell Key from here. And the Miss Pass-a-Grille fishing charter is here. They have either a 5-hour or 10-hour trip you can take with friendly Captain John here. He'll cut up your catch. These pelicans are certainly happy that the fishing charters are back. Now the bait shop here has yet to reopen. It might have to be rebuilt. We had shown these mini speedboat tours with Endless Summer WaterSports in our 2024 video. Well, they are currently not operating due to the damage to the docks, but they do have these island hopping charters on a double-decker pontoon with a water slide. 2 hours is $350 or 4 hours is $575. All right, let's head up Gulf Boulevard. We passed the Don Cesar again. Let's take a look at the status of the other major resorts on St Pete Bch. North of Pass-a-Grille, public parking is limited. I think it's one of the negatives of St Pete Bch. There are 2 public beach parking lots. The first is across from the Dolphin Village Shopping Center. It's $4 an hour Monday through Friday and $4.75 on weekends. This parking area has restroom facilities, outdoor showers, but there's no cafe here, although there's a Chick-fil-A across the street, a long boardwalk crossover through the sand dunes to the beach. There's lounger rentals available until 5 p.m. It's $45 for a cabana umbrella with 2 chairs. This is also a stop for the Sunrunner, which runs between downtown St. Petersburg and St. Pete Bch. It's $2.25 to ride. You also have this free beach ride, which you can call for a pickup. It runs from Madeira Bch, Treasure Island, to Pass-a-Grille Beach. Next door is the Dolphin Beach Resort, still closed. It will be until at least February 2026 before it reopens. This Dolphin Village Shopping Center suffered a devastating loss unrelated to the hurricanes. There was a major fire in May of 2025 that started in the CVS and destroyed the Publix grocery store here. Unfortunately, this, as well as the Bellwether Resort still closed, has negatively affected other businesses in the area. You see it on the beach, on the sidewalks. There is much less foot traffic than you would ordinarily see. When we filmed 8 months ago, the Bellwether Resort was expected to open in the summer, but it still looks the same. I wish I had something to report, but their last Facebook post was a week before Hurricane Milton. You would think they could at least update their social media or website, but it's crickets. If you're waiting on permitting, at least update the public. If anyone has heard anything, please post in the comments. So while Spinner's, Level 11 Bistro, and Bongo's Beach Bar is still closed, next door, you do have Krabby Bill's that is open, with elevated seating overlooking the beach. Next to Bellwether, the Serrata Beach Resort has completed a $25 million renovation of its main building and will be building a JW Marriott and Hampton Inn on the property soon. On the beach at the Serrata is Suncoast WaterSports that we showed in our 2024 video. At their yellow booth here, you can rent beach loungers, umbrellas, and cabanas. They also have banana boat rides that you can do. That is $45 per person for a 15-minute ride. Super fun.
Yeah, come down and see us. You can go for a 15-minute ride behind a jet ski on a tube. It's the time of your life.
Also parasailing for $88 per flyer. Includes a 45-minute excursion where you take a transport boat to get out to the parasail boat. And then you get 10 minutes in the air. They also have jet ski rentals and a 3.5-hour boat tour to Sand Dollar Island. The largest resort on St Pete Beach is the Tradewinds, which was one of the first to open back up after the hurricane. So much to do on the property.
Are you ready? Just let go!
We like the Rumfish Beach Resort that is a couple of doors down from the main property. Has a nice beach and pool area with activities going on. Next door to the Rumfish is one of the best beach bars, Coconut Charlie's. It's part of the Hilton Garden Inn. Another great beach bar is next to Coconut Charlie's, Jimmy B's Beach Bar, closed as of the filming of this video, but good news, as it, as well as the Beachcomber Resort, will open on October 30th. This will certainly bring some life back to the beach. Further down is the Postcard Inn. They had been posting on their social media, but haven't posted anything since April. Looking from the outside, doesn't look like much has been done. Their Google page says permanently closed, but don't know if that is accurate. Post a comment if you know anything. Next to the Postcard Inn is the other public beach parking area, Upham Bch. I'd say this is one of the best beaches of St Pete Beach. There is a Paradise Grill here, like the one at Pass-a-Grille. This one has a nice wooden deck, multiple covered picnic tables, and you can rent basic lounger and umbrella cabanas here. There's fancy cabana rentals with Nana Cabana that include everything from coolers, lockbox, and beach towels. Parking is the same, $4 an hour on weekdays or $4.75 on weekends. Now you can't avoid the parking costs if you stay at the Calm Ocean Condo here, our favorite vacation rental on the Sun Coast. They have a 3rd floor and 5th floor unit with a balcony that overlooks the beach. You can see the Don Cesar from here. It's not only a great room, but the location is just ideal, being so close to the good eateries and beach bars, yet you have a nice quiet room to retreat to. Just 0.3 of a mile north of Calm Ocean and Upham Bch, on Blind Pass, are several nice eateries, beach bars. There's 82 Degrees Bar and Grill, with a pool patio tiki bar. And next to that is the Toasted Monkey, that is now all open back up with live music, has an elevated deck overlooking the waterway. And across from Toasted Monkey is Bowie's Waterfront Grill, also with an elevated deck overlooking the inlet. Used to have a boat dock, but those got destroyed by the hurricanes. Further down, the former Woody's had been here for 35 years, but a casualty of the hurricanes, being sold. Now Willie's Burger and Booze here is going to rebuild and reopen, still going through the permitting process. And a half-mile from Upham Bch is the Corey Avenue Shopping District, which experienced significant flooding during the hurricanes, forcing many establishments to rebuild from the ground up. Businesses are slowly coming back, though. This movie theater here had been closed for a decade, opened back up in July, now shows movies and live theatrical events. There's also a major redevelopment in the planning process, the Quarry Landing on the east end of Quarry Avenue, that will include new restaurants, retail space, and public waterfront access. We now jump to the other side of Blind Pass, Treasure Island and Sunset Beach, one of the hardest hit areas in Pinellas County. This is how it looked a year ago.
Now they have to bring it in because there is no power out here, there's no running water out here, and it looks like a mess out here. Look how much of that beach is gone.
A dock and what appears to be a lift just thoroughly wrecked, blown apart.
Basically what you're seeing is essentially sand dunes and beachfront that has now come up into the beach communities, into the homes and onto the streets for Sunset Beach.
And now, 1 year later, there's Caddy's Treasure Island here. Believe it or not, they are back open. They set up tents and a food truck next door with a temporary permit to be able to be open while the main building is being rebuilt. The building still has a ways to go, but in the meantime, you can still enjoy Caddy's seafood on the beach. Also, the Treasure Island drum circles are back. They happen every Sunday across the street from the Publix grocery store at 104th Street Beach parking lot, starting 3 to 4 hours before sunset and end shortly after sunset. Treasure Island's most popular bar is Ricky T's, with an open-air pavilion and outdoor seating, now back after the hurricanes, better than ever, open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, with live music and TVs for sports. And there's the vintage Thunderbird Resort, which had the Iki Woo Woo bar. Was really doing well before the hurricanes. A shot here a few months before the hurricanes. Well, this hotel is going to be demolished, but the good news is it will be rebuilt with a target opening date of June 2027. Will be a 4-story U-shaped building designed to preserve its historic charm and famous vintage neon sign. We'll keep you posted on all of that. We end our video at John's Pass in Madeira Beach. There's a noticeable difference on the beach area here. Here's a look before the hurricanes. Notice the trees and the greenery. Well, all that is gone, but there is a nice new crossover walkway to the beach. This boardwalk got hit hard, but has made an impressive recovery. While there is still some repair to the docks ongoing, most of the boat tours are back, like the pirate ship, the water sports, jet ski rentals, eagle parasailing. Also, Hubbard's Marina boat tours and fishing charters. And speaking of some breaking news, Hubbard's Marina has been selected by the Pinellas County Transit Authority to operate the new ferry between St. Petersburg and Tampa, replacing the old Cross Bay ferry. Now, they'll be using boats that are much bigger than this boat. As far as John's Pass, most of its businesses, restaurants like Scully's, the Friendly Fisherman, are open. The Caddy's John's Pass is still closed. Construction has begun, but no word on its reopening. There is a Caddy's a mile up Gulf Boulevard that is open. You really feel for Caddy's. All 4 of their locations were damaged. This location here was the first to open back up. Now, there is one very noticeable impact of the hurricanes that is across from the boardwalk. Krabby's on the Pass. They say they are coming back on their social media, but that was 10 months ago and don't really see any signs of rebuilding yet. So there you have it. Some parts of St. Pete Beach are back, better than ever, and other parts are still a work in progress. Feel free to share questions in the comments or updates when you hear businesses reopening. If traveling with a dog, I highly recommend these Cargo Dog backpacks. They allow you to take a dog to places you maybe otherwise would not be able to. I put a link here. If you are interested in using our stock footage or to hire us to film your travel-related business or vacation rental, contact me at info@tampaaerialmedia.com. Now we head back to the Florida Keys. Key Largo, Isla Mirada, Marathon, the Lower Keys, and Key West. From Florida's Sun Coast, I wish blessings to you wherever you may be.